Hey everybody. So I know I still have to do Space Quest 6, and I still have to do the rest of Police Quest. And there's a new Leisure Suit Larry that Princess and I need to play at some point, and I haven't even started King's Quest. I know all of this. But I am going to take a brief detour to play a completely different game. Although it's still an adventure game, and the third game in the series was published by Sierra, so I feel like I'm in the wheelhouse. I want to play Goblins. Sorry, Gobliins. The first game, it has three eyes because it has three characters. Goblins is a very interesting series. And I'm going to be very upfront with you. I am going to use a walkthrough for this because I have never beaten the first screen of Goblins. I have beaten Goblins too, but Goblins... So, Goblins is an adventure game with no text, no dialogue, no descriptions, nothing. How Goblins works is, first of all, I also want to point out the visual design of Goblins is very unique. It's done by a French artist whose name I should have looked up before I started this, but I didn't, and I have failed you. I'm sorry. So how Goblins works, at least the first two games, I've never even touched the third, but maybe I will in the course of this. You have different characters who interact with things in different ways. For example, you've got a punchy guy. You've got, he's more of a fighter. So if you tell him to interact with something, more often than not, he's going to punch it. He's going to kick it. You've got an intellectual wizard type who God only knows what he's going to do. And I can't even remember the third one now. Because, again, I'm not so familiar with Goblins, the first game. So all you pretty much are doing is trial and erroring your way through the game, trying to figure out, okay, who needs to interact with what in what way in order to progress the plot. And it's very interesting because it could be played by anybody of any nationality, since there is no language whatsoever in the game. It is a universal game. But the trial and error part is a little bit frustrating, particularly in this first game, because your goblins all have health. And often, taking the wrong course of action will reduce their health. If you have the wrong goblin interact with the wrong thing, something will happen and he will lose health. So, and if you lose enough health, a goblin dies, and if a goblin dies, you're done. So it's frustrating because it's a trial and error game where you are punished for trial and error. So you do have to use a little bit of... The problem is you can't use a lot of logic with goblins. You can try and guess what a given character will do to a given object, but there is no certainty. Which is why I'm going to use the walkthrough, so you guys don't have to see me spend hours fumbling through this. I think it's very entertaining. I think it's very interesting. I also think it's very frustrating, so I'm going to play it with a walkthrough. So you don't have to. You can just enjoy it. I probably will still make mistakes along the way because I have a problem adhering strictly to a walkthrough, right? I want to try and figure some things out, so I'm sure there will be mistakes along the way. So, I think I've talked enough now. Let's play Gobliins 1.